All right, so today we're diving deep into Jordan Peele's Nope. And look, this film is so much more than just a summer blockbuster. It's this really profound look at spectacle, at survival, and at this absolutely terrifying idea the film introduces, something it calls a bad miracle.
The film kicks off with this really chilling quote from the biblical book of Nahum. And believe me, this isn't just for atmosphere. It is the central theme, right? It sets up this terrifying question that the whole movie wrestles with. In a world that's just obsessed with looking, what happens when something looks back and decides to make you the main event, the spectacle?
Okay, so the story, it revolves around these two siblings, OJ and Emerald Haywood. They're Hollywood horse trainers, and they're really just struggling to keep their family ranch afloat. But then, their whole world gets thrown into absolute chaos after the truly bizarre death of their father, a death that literally comes from the sky and kicks off a mystery that is way, way stranger than your typical alien encounter. And this moment is it's so crucial. A single coin, a totally normal, everyday object, falls out of the sky and becomes a lethal weapon. It's a statistical impossibility, right? Something that just completely shatters their reality. And it's way more than just a plot point. This is the film's first big warning shot. It's telling us that the ordinary can become horrifically and completely inexplicably deadly. Right, so this completely strange death, it forces us, the audience, to really grapple with the film's core idea. I mean, think about it. We usually think of miracles as good things, don't we? Divine intervention, these amazing moments of salvation. But Nope asks us to consider something much, much darker. A far more terrifying possibility. So, what is a bad miracle? It's such a great question, and it's really the paradox at the very heart of this movie. The film is basically suggesting that maybe we should look at these impossible events not as signs of hope, but as omens. What if the miracle isn't here to save you? What if it's here to destroy you? And honestly, the father's death is the perfect example of this. It's an impossible event, but it brings destruction, not deliverance. It's a total freak accident that just defies all logic, and all it delivers is tragedy. You see what I mean? It has all the ingredients of a miracle, but it lands like a curse. This whole concept of a bad miracle, well, it's embodied perfectly in the film's antagonist, the UFO they named Jean Jacket. But here's the thing, it's not a spaceship. It's a living, breathing creature. And it is magnificent, it's totally awe-inspiring, and it's a predator. Jean Jacket is the ultimate paradox, right? It's this phenomenon of absolute wonder that brings with it absolute terror. So, how do we as humans react when we see a God miracle? Well, with this really dangerous, almost primal urge, right? We want to understand it, we want to capture it, and we want to profit from it. Pretty much everyone in this film tries to tame something that is fundamentally untamable. And as you can probably guess, for most of them, that's a fatal mistake. And this is where the film just gets so smart. It draws this absolutely terrifying parallel between two different events. On one hand, you have Gordy the chimp, a TV star who's been turned into entertainment, into a spectacle, who's then triggered by a simple popping balloon into a horrific, violent rampage. Then, decades later, you have Jean Jacket. It's being treated as a theme park spectacle, and it's triggered by something as simple as direct eye contact into consuming its victims. The lesson here could not be clearer. You can't domesticate the wild. If you try to control it, it will destroy you, period. And we just see this fatal mistake get made again and again and again. Let's take Jupe, for example. He's the former child actor who actually survived Gordy's rampage. But he completely misreads that experience. He believes his survival means he has some kind of special bond with the wild. He's mistaking pure trauma for a real connection. So what does he do? He tries to profit from Jean Jacket by turning it into a spectacle. And well, he pays the ultimate price for that assumption. And then you've got the famous cinematographer Antlers Holst. Now, he's not driven by money like Jupe was. No, he's driven by artistic hubris, this deep, obsessive need to capture the impossible shot. And in his quest to perfectly frame the monster, to capture the spectacle, he gets too close. and is literally consumed by his own ambition. We even see this on a much smaller scale with that TMZ reporter. He kind of represents the lowest form of our obsession with spectacle, just trying to exploit a tragedy for a quick paycheck. But here's the lesson. The predator doesn't care about your motives. He looks, he tries to get his shot, and he too is consumed. So the pattern here it's undeniable. Every single person who tried to control or profit from or capture the spectacle, they ended up becoming part of the spectacle. Literally. They were all consumed by the very thing they were trying to exploit. It's like that old saying, when you stare into the abyss stares back. Except in this case, the abyss also eats. Which brings us to the big question, doesn't it? If everybody who confronts this bad miracle gets destroyed by it, how on earth did OJ and Emerald, our two heroes, make it out alive? The answer is fascinating. It has nothing to do with fighting the monster head-on, and everything to do with something else entirely. So how do you fight back against a bad miracle that's been sent from the heavens? Well, the film's answer is actually really beautiful. You counter it by creating a good miracle, right here on Earth. You make your own. And this, right here, is where OJ and Emerald get it right, where everyone else failed so spectacularly. Their goal, it shifts. It's no longer about getting that Oprah shot for fame and fortune. It becomes about one thing, survival. OJ, being an animal trainer, he gets it. You don't try to tame a predator. You respect its power. You learn its rules. You don't look it in the eye. And suddenly, their focus isn't on the spectacle up in the sky anymore. It's on protecting each other, right there on the ground. So, what's their secret weapon? Well, it isn't a weapon at all. It's an unspoken promise. It's something you see in those shared glances, the silent nods. It's this forgotten bond between two siblings that gets completely reforged by terror. It's a simple but incredibly powerful pact. I will save you no matter what, even if I die doing it. And that human connection, that becomes their shield. Think about that final scene. Emerald manages to destroy the monster, but she thinks she's lost her brother in the process. And then, through all that dust and smoke, he emerges, riding his horse Lucky. That, right there, is the film's true miracle. It's not the alien monster in the sky. It's the impossible, triumphant return of someone you love. It's the ultimate victory of human connection over this giant cosmic horror. So, in the end, Nope leaves us with this really powerful question to think about in our own lives. In a world that's so obsessed with turning everything into a spectacle, how do we create our own miracles? The film's answer seems to be that it's not found by looking up at all the chaos. It's found by looking at each other. It's in those small, everyday human acts of connection, of sacrifice, and of love. That's it for this explainer. Thanks for tuning in.